Joe Rogan interviewed Tyler Fischer, a white comedian who is suing Hollywood for anti-white discrimination, and the exchange was fascinating. Take a look.
I had an acting agent who, whenever I would do stand, I used to host Mark Norman's show, Hot Soup, and all the agents would come, and every couple months, someone would go, "Why aren't you on SNL? We got to get you in Hollywood." And I'd go, "Well, sure, sign me, send me. You need auditions." And so this guy saw him, and he brought me in. It was the biggest agency at the time, Abrams it was called, and I'm waiting around going, "What's going on? No auditions? Is SNL coming to check me out?" And he emails and he goes, "It's too tough out there for white guys." He kind of was like, "We're done here." The next day, fires me, removes me. Right? Well, no, the next day. It was soon after, removed me from the roster. I got an email. Some more time went by, and then another manager scouted me, brought me in. It's called AGI Entertainment, I think. And he goes, "Dude, you're a killer." He goes, "You got an acting resume?" He goes, "We're going to get you on Curb Your Enthusiasm." And I was like, okay, maybe this is finally somebody who's got the balls to fight this. Months go by. He calls me and he goes, "We hit a snag." He said, we can't have any more white guys, or we're not hiring white guys. We're not representing white guys." And I just was like, what the f is going on? How could you say that? And I go, "Is it company policy?" And he goes, "Yeah."
So I know that video was a little long-winded, but I wanted to show it to emphasize just one of the examples of anti-white discrimination that's going on in America suddenly now. Again, I'm old enough to know at this point, and I know many people out there are older than me, to know that for a while there, like in the early 2000s, racial tension started going much lower. And then, of course, in 2012, Obama started really stoking the fire. And then, of course, later we had George Floyd. And really since then, it has just not gotten better. Anti-white discrimination has gotten worse. And you can tell, by the way, that Tyler Fischer told that story that the man he was talking to on behalf of the agency, you can tell that this guy wasn't super into the anti-white racism either. Like, this was kind of a middle management dude. He wasn't super into it. But this is the thing. For most people, that intuitively feels wrong. You hear that even if you're not white and you're like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, I know that, for the last couple hundred years, white Americans have kind of been on top, but that still doesn't mean that we should be like, being racist to them. But the problem is that about 25% of the people who are the true progressives in America believe this crap, and the other 75% of us are unwilling to stand up for it, which is kind of, it's just the vibe I got from Tyler Fischer talking to Joe Rogan about this. I get the vibe that middle management guy wasn't particularly anti-white, but his superiors were. And it's not, again, he didn't believe that, but he was too afraid to speak up and actually make a difference. And I think that's true for like almost everybody in America, and it's a massive problem. What scares me the most of all about these stories is if you look at the polling, the progressive mob is bigger than you want to say. We kind of go out and we say, the majority is sensible. The majority may be sensible, but the majority is not the vast majority. Like, it might be, 55% of people that are pretty normal. It might even be 70%. But unfortunately, the numbers when you poll Americans show that about 25% are just pure blood progressives. And they believe some crazy stuff. Like, they truly believe that whites are evil and oppressive in today's age. Again, this isn't like a 2% problem. I'd like to say that it's just like 2% of the population is just crazy, but it's just not that way. It's actually a huge amount of people, and it's because of how systematic the left has been in taking over certain institutions like Hollywood, like the media, even business as well. I talk enough to crazies to know that there are plenty of people out there. And I know that you guys, you probably talk to them online or in person as well. The crazy part of their ideology as well is that they believe that they're owed something because their ancestors were wronged or that they suffered, which, newsflash, all of our ancestors have been wronged or suffered at some point. At some point, all of us have the same ancestors. They believe at the same time that not only were their ancestors wronged, but that you owe them something because your ancestors did something wrong to their ancestors, which is equally crazy because we had nothing to do with the actions of our ancestors. So the thing that progressives cannot accept is that was in the past. I have nothing to do with my ancestors in terms of virtue, just like they don't have more virtue because their ancestors were oppressed. It's just, I'm not saying we shouldn't be connected to our ancestors. I think it's incredibly important for anybody, but that doesn't mean that the virtue of their actions makes us more or less virtuous, or that we should atone for the sins of our past generations rather than just acting good in the now. We don't need to bend the stick the other way. We can just be good right now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please go down below, comment, like, and subscribe, and watch another video.